Hi everyone, I just wanted to record a video today because I've just finished my first custom water cooling loop. It's a soft tube in build, which I'll show you obviously in a second. But I just thought there were quite a few things that I learned during this build that weren't covered in some of the videos that I'd seen on YouTube, as good as some of the videos are. So obviously I'm not claiming to be an expert, this is my first ever build, but I have built PCs for a long time. As you can see, I'm no spring chicken. So, you know, I have been building PCs really since the sort of mid to early 90s, so I've built quite a fair few in my time. But this is the first time, I've used AIOs and stuff like that, but I've just never done a full custom build until now, a custom loop until now. So I'll just walk you through some of the things that I'd learned during the build process, because I just think that, like I said, they're just some of these things they might seem quite obvious, but they're just not things that were covered in the videos that I saw. So anyway, I'll show you through them. First thing I probably should mention is the case that I'm using. So I'm using a Lian Li 011 Dynamic. I mean, don't expect any sort of fancy B-roll in this video, as you can probably already work out. But it's a really simple setup, really. I've got a 360 rad up top there, an EK CPU block with white Mayhem's pastel white colouring, or liquid, should I say. I've got an RTX 2080 Ti graphics card with an EK block on it. Just a simple sort of setup there coming out of the pump. So, I mean, this is one of the things that some of the videos don't always show I were finding. So that's the import on the pump, and that's the out. So I've just got a connector there going into like a T block, then coming out into a ball valve, just so I can drain it. And then that goes into the graphics card. And then one of the first things that I wanted to cover was this, because in the EK manual it says that you can use, you know, the top of the pump as an inlet, which you can indeed. But one of the things that it doesn't tell you is that you really need like a splash pipe inside that. I mean, you can't really see now because the liquid's in, but where the inlet, it's pretty difficult to get it on camera, but where the water comes in, if you don't, you can see there's like a black pipe there, that's known as a splash pipe, which I've only just recently found out. Because obviously if the water's coming in from the top of the pump there into the reservoir, it's just going to splash and make loads of noise unless it's, you know, you want the water to come into the water itself. So that's one of the first sort of things that I learned. I didn't set it up and then realise this. It would just as I was connecting it all up, it just sort of occurred to me. I just thought, well, wait a second, if the water's coming into the top of the pump like that, then it's going to make a right racket. So that was one of the first things, and none of that's mentioned in well, you don't really get many manuals from EK. But even on their online literature, it's not mentioned. So that's one of the first things. So if you're using the top of the reservoir as an inlet, then you probably will need one of those splash pipes. The second thing that I wanted to mention is this pump bracket. None of that's included with the... I mean, again, I don't know, some of this might be mentioned on the website, but a lot of it didn't seem to be, or I missed it anyway. So this bracket that you see here for the pump, none of that's included. You have to buy that all extra, which is not it doesn't cost a fortune, but... it would just be handy to know these things, because what EK are assuming you're going to do is screw... I mean, you can attach the pump through these holes here, but that only works, obviously, if you're putting it to the side of a case. You know, it doesn't work if I've got a setup like mine there. So that's the second thing that I learned. The third thing is the fan headers. I was planning on using... EK, again, sort of sell these sort of fan splitters, which, like, obviously, I've got two 360 rads. You know, so I've got 6 fans, so I'm planning on putting 3 fans into there to get one out and plug that into the motherboard header, which you can do, but I've since sort of found out that the motherboard doesn't really have enough power to power 3 fans from one header. So that's another thing that I've had to purchase, is this fan controller. So I've purchased this Corsair, I think it's called the Commander Pro, so I'm going to put my fans into there. So that's just another little thing that, you know, that you don't really expect to have to include, but, you know, it's just a little oversight. So like I said, there's the fan headers, the splash pipe, the pump bracket, and then I think just moving on to the fittings as well. I mean, I bought an absolute ton load of fittings. I'll just show you them. I mean, I've got a big bag full, because this is the first sort of build that I've done. I've obviously not got like a big collection of spares, so I bought quite a few different fittings. But one of the things, I mean, all this comes down to planning really. So, I mean, one of the things that I did is I drew like a real sort of simple sketch. I'll probably cut to some B-roll of that sketch. But what I really would recommend that you do is get a picture of your case and really plan out exactly how you're going to do it. You'll just end up wasting time actually, and money, ordering fittings that you don't need. I mean, one of the things that I ordered were quite a lot of sort of 45-degree bends, which had a female thread in both sides. Again, I'll probably cut to this. And they were pretty useless really. I didn't end up using hardly any of them. Same with plugs as well. I bought like a big bag of plugs, but all the like the GPU block and the pump and everything all come with their own plugs. So you don't really need them. I think I only used one in the end, which were to come out of this ball joint. So yeah, so like I say, there's just a few things that you don't sort of at first sort of appreciate. I mean, just to walk you through it, obviously, as well. So it's coming out of the pump, into the GPU, out of the GPU, into my top rad, out of my top rad, into my CPU block, out of the CPU block, into my top rad there, and then out of the top rad, into the pump. I might cut to a better shot of that. So there's quite a few things, like I say, so a lot of it comes down to planning, making sure you buy the right fittings. I mean, it's just a lot easier as well, I find, obviously, once you've got your case and everything to hand, you know, 'cause one of the mistakes that I made is I tried to sort of do the planning phase before I actually add a lot of the components, and that was probably a mistake as well. I mean, I think I've mentioned the drain, so it's important that you include a drain. Obviously, you need a method of filling the loop as well, so I found I'm just filling through one of these, that's been really easy. I've just had a funnel connected up to there, so that's worked really well. I mean, the only thing that a few people have recommended that I haven't included is what they call a bleed port, which is just to sort of let the air out of the loop, but I've not really found that I've needed that really yet. And I have, well, no, I'm saying I have flushed it. I haven't flushed it. I flushed the rads using a mixture of white vinegar and warm water, but nothing much came out of them anyway. But I haven't flushed the entire loop, I've just left the loop, because, like I said, nothing came out of the radiators anyway, and there was very little in the loop. Nothing came out of the radiators at all, so I just didn't feel the need to flush the entire loop. I hope I'm not wrong in doing that. But yeah, so I thought I'd do a quick video, guys, because I just thought there's quite a few little bits and pieces there that might just help you. So if you are ordering parts from EK, and you do need to see any of these parts in any more detail or anything like that, just let me know and I'll do another video to show you exactly how they work. Because like I say, you only really get a proper feel for it once you actually start sort of putting it together yourself. I mean, I've really enjoyed doing this, to be honest. It's not hard at all. I mean, I was totally not nervous, but I've always been like pretty reluctant to do a custom water cooling build myself. In hindsight, there were really no need to worry at all, because I've really enjoyed doing it, and it really isn't that difficult at all. The only thing that because of these points, has made it's just delayed it, because I've had to wait for other parts to come to complete the build. So anyway, I just thought I'd show you that, guys. So hopefully that'll be of some use to someone at some point. Hopefully. Okay, cheers. Thanks a lot. Bye.